Alright, testing 1, 2, 3. What's going on, fellow rogues? This is Massmare here, and we're live with, well, once it finishes counting down, my live reaction for the Resident Evil Showcase. So, for those who may not be too familiar with me, Resident Evil is like my favorite game series. So, I'm really excited about, what's gonna be, coming in this. I know it's gonna be things based around the upcoming Winter's expansion for Resident Evil Village, which I'll definitely be doing a live stream for that, probably like, on release day for it, like later, within the next several days. And also, there's going to be, more news on the Resident Evil 4 remake, which, I've been kind of on the fence on how I feel about that, because I personally feel like Resident Evil 4 was great in its own right and didn't really need to be remade, but, I mean, at the same time, it did seem like it did pretty well for Resident Evil 2, as well as Resident Evil 3. My only concern really is, as it, in the title for my streams, I'm really hoping we hear something about, Krauser possibly being in it. Because, he was, his boss battle was pretty much probably, the best one in Resident Evil 4, and he was, a character who had, a lot of, he's a really interesting character, kind of trying to understand, the background between him and Leon. So I'm hoping that Krauser is going to be confirmed for this during this, and maybe if we're lucky, hopefully there will be something along the lines of maybe, I mean, I know it's kind of, far-fetched, that there might be something for Resident Evil 9, or even, the remake, remake of Resident Evil Code Veronica, which is, what a lot of fans, including myself, are wanting. My friend Deceptus, he's wanting them to do, a Resident Evil, trilogy pack or whatever, or something, where kind of, maybe, some of the, older games, I think, will be, available on newer consoles, which I think would be pretty cool. But whatever the case, we're in in the final 15 seconds now of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch my input on over to my live things. That way I'll have it'll be full screen and my webcam will be in right here. So anyways, let me go ahead and turn the sound on so we can go ahead and get started with this because it's starting now. All right, see what we got coming here. All right, so we're starting off with both the Winter expansion and Resident Evil 4's remake. Turn it down maybe a little bit.
Oh my, company.
Why are the subtitles in German?
Earth did you get in here? Oh, please don't fret. I have no intention of making a meal of you.
Oh, I'll just turn them off. It's in German for some reason.
I am but a humble merchant, purveyor of goods to lords and ladies, prophets and priestesses. I do so strive to please my patrons. I hope we can become well acquainted. But of course it is not I who is on display here, but rather the wares on offer for you. I deal in all manner of commerce, but today I trade in knowledge. This place is a veritable hoard of information, gathered from all throughout the realms of man.
Dude kind of sounds a little more malevolent here, I think.
The more the knowledge, the higher the price. But you look like you're well aware of the value of such things. Well, since we're here, I've got a few morsels I'd love to share with such a connoisseur. Please, take a gander.
Okay, so basically like the Duke is like narrating it. That's a pretty nice little touch. World premiere. All right, what we got here? Okay, this is gonna be more stuff on the Winter's expansion, I think.
Happy half birthday, Rose.
All right, the father's nightmare comes to an end because you know what happened at the end of the village.
I just want to find my daughter.
Okay, this is the third person mode for the main campaign.
No matter what.
Which like the fact they actually animated in like actual, you know, all this extra stuff. I mean, I don't know if that's actually basically animation they had available originally.
Oh, my precious Rose.
But like way he reacts to getting hit.
So long as we were together.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. I love you.
It seems like the third person makes it seem like it's an entirely new game in a way. I don't know. Okay, so maybe that's like some kind of tyrant type enemy that's probably gonna pursue her.
Sometimes I feel lost or afraid.
Okay, they look very much like the mold from Resident Evil
I
7.
can imagine what he might have said to me.
No matter, your imminent demise is inevitable.
I love you, but I won't let anything happen to Rose.
I've got this.
That's obviously like the main thing I'm interested in. I mean, I know like people are like, you know, definitely really stoked about being able to play as Lady Dimitrescu. And third person mode, like, it's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah, so we're getting this in like just like basically a week now. But I am curious to how like the Shadow of Rose is gonna
Kinoshita, the director of the Winter's
how that's gonna play out.
Ethan gave his life to protect Rose. And in the end, you see how she's grown. What kind of person is 16-year-old Rose? That's what we wanted to explore, so we decided to have her at that age in this expansion.
He said you had something important to tell me?
She's trying to get rid of her unwanted powers, but to do that, she is forced to return to the origin of her misfortune. We thought that concept had a lot of potential for an interesting story. So the setting this time is the realm of consciousness, going back one more time to that village.
Yeah, a lot of the gameplay has been Lady Dimitrescu's castle.
The word nightmare is synonymous with fear. For instance, if you've ever had a childhood fever that caused a nightmare, even if they only last for an instant, like the feeling of being attacked by a giant doll, or something else similarly so
Okay, there's gonna be dolls in this.
can remain as a fragment of a memory for the rest of your life.
That's gonna be interesting because I'm scared of dolls.
To come from the kind of memories and nightmares that still haunt people to this day. We wanted to choose characters that would interest people who didn't play the Mercenaries mode, but would be interested in playing a different type of character.
That's Heisenberg. The one everyone's gonna be playing as.
There are characters called Lords, and playing as them allows you to perform amazing skills and attacks that a regular human could not. Being able to play them was more fun, so that's why we chose those characters.
Okay, and so like you can use her daughters as attacks also.
We balance things to ensure that as little time as possible is spent waiting for enemies to appear. For instance, if a player doesn't finish off an enemy, it will chase after the player. We made adjustments like this to raise the tempo and increase the fun of defeating enemy after enemy.
Should probably make it easier to get combos maybe also. I haven't played the Mercenaries like really that much yet.
In an FPS, you experience the game world as if it's through your own eyes. So it can be incredibly scary to play a horror game from that perspective. There are some players out there who might find it too scary or experience motion sickness in the first-person perspective. They might not enjoy the FPS genre. So we wanted to make a third-person mode for those players.
Yeah,
Enjoy the game
very
to
keen
its
to like
fullest.
Resident Evil 2 and 3's remakes.
While there's still a sense of immersion and fear with a third-person perspective, when the player character dies, it doesn't feel as much like you yourself are dying. And you can enjoy playing it as a game to confront the fear that it creates, which is a very different experience. I think third-person mode is a perfect way for people to return to Resident Evil Village, as both a game and an experience. Wouldn't it be okay to show Ethan's face? We gave that question some thought. So even in third-person mode, if you try to turn the camera to see his face, Ethan will look away, and you're not quite able to get a good look.
Even though people kind of do know what he looks like due to
Each of
character
the
model
three
being
editions are interesting in their own way.
seen in Resident Evil
And we hope
7.
you really enjoy the expansion. Please look forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited, but thankfully it's not gonna be long before we get it. And like I said, the third person makes it seem like Resident Evil 3 and 2's remakes.
Today, a demo for the third-person mode will be available. Here is the release date and platforms for the demo.
Okay, that's cool.
This demo can be played for a total of 60 minutes in third-person mode, or the previously existing first-person mode.
Okay, that's awesomeness. That's actually really cool. They actually have like the demo available for that, or another world premiere.
Mission adjustment?
No, doesn't change anything.
Been a while since we fought together, Captain. Doing nothing
Wait, what's
but
this?
gotten me out of shape.
Something for Chris, I think.
Move out.
Yes, sir.
Or R-verse, R-verse. Honestly, I don't really know if I'm gonna be too interested in this. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I definitely like Leon's Resident Evil 6 model right there. Included free with every purchase Resident Evil Village. Okay, so I should already have that.
Resident Evil RE-verse is free content for those who own Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil Village Gold Edition. This game has crossplay, and you can fight players across all platforms. Those who already
crossplay's
own
good.
Resident Evil Village will be able to participate in the early access period starting October 24th.
Okay.
Additionally, updates are planned for Resident Evil RE-verse after it has been officially released. Here are some details for the early access and updates.
It's like so 9 other survivors it look like, and monsters and all that.
Resident Evil Village will be playable on even more platforms.
Does it come to the Switch
Hello,
or?
everyone. My name is Jeremy Sandmel, and I'm part of the GPU software team at Apple. During the keynote at our Worldwide Developers Conference, Capcom announced Resident Evil Village will be coming to the Mac later this year.
On the Mac.
And will take full advantage of the power and performance of Apple Silicon. We couldn't be more excited that the game will be available to Mac users around the world beginning Friday, October 28th. Resident Evil Village is the first project based on Capcom's RE engine to support the Mac and runs natively on Apple Silicon. And since the game is optimized to take advantage of Metal 3 features like Metal Effects upscaling, gameplay is incredibly responsive, with high frame rates and beautiful visuals. This means that every Mac, from MacBook Air to Mac Studio, will be able to play Resident Evil Village with ease. Stay tuned for more information soon.
I thought they were gonna announce it for the Switch or something.
Hello everyone, I am Midoro from Ubitus.
And I am Yonatani from Ubitus.
It is a great honor to be taking part in this global project of the Resident Evil franchise on cloud with Capcom. With the launch of the cloud version, not only fans from Japan, but from all over the world can play the game on Nintendo Switch without thinking about the download
Okay,
time.
so wait, I can't remember if it actually was on Switch, but
The users can experience smooth gameplay of up to 60 FPS while playing it in multiple modes that Nintendo Switch offers, such as TV mode, tabletop mode, and handheld mode.
It is great to be able to focus on the gameplay without thinking about storage space or the download time. You can also check your network environment by playing the demo before you pre-order or purchase the game.
The game can be pre-ordered or purchased after you play the demo.
Okay, so because I couldn't remember if it was on the Switch. I thought it wasn't.
Or may have concerns, can test it and enjoy the game.
With 5G mobile network technology being so widespread recently, the barrier between installing the game and playing it on cloud is getting smaller and smaller.
We hope you will enjoy it and marvel at the technology of cloud gaming as well as its future through the release of Resident Evil Village Cloud.
Resident Evil Village Cloud will be available on October 28th, and the Winter's Expansion DLC will follow on December 2nd.
Okay, so it's gonna take it a couple months to release there.
RE2 Cloud will launch on November 11th, followed by the RE3 Cloud on November 18th, and RE7 Cloud will be available on December 16th.
How delightful. Such delectable information ought to be savored. What's that? You want more? What a greedy thing you are. No, it's quite all right. I love to see a healthy appetite. I'll do my
Ain't that the
best
truth?
to sate your hunger. Come, have a look at this.
He cooked for me multiple times, like, you know, while I was playing through, so. Okay, 4 remake. And Dr. Salvador. Are we gonna see the Del Lago also? I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure the Del Lago is gonna be in it, which is like the giant
Hello everyone.
lake monster. I want
I'm
Krauser.
the producer of Resident Evil 4, Yoshiaki Hirabayashi. I'm here today to deliver the newest information about the title. First, please enjoy this new gameplay footage.
I mean, the cutscenes look great. I just want Krauser, and I want to at least get like a glimpse of the Del Lago, but Krauser more than anything. Okay, definitely looks a lot spookier. So it does seem like they're basically trying. So I'm wondering if they're actually going to definitely try to focus on making this like a lot creepier. Considering this that Resident Evil 4 was like a departure, like more towards like action oriented. I'm pretty sure it's going to still be like that, but it seems like they're actually trying to make it like a lot darker and all that.
Anyone home?
I mean, it looks great. It's like they made like the opening house thing like a lot more expansive. Because originally it was just like one room I think you walked into, but in this one it's like, it seems like this is like the first where he maybe met the first Ganado. And it's a lot more creepy and decrepit with like. So I don't know. I mean, it may surprise everyone. I mean, well, I know it's gonna be good. It's just that.
Hey.
I said the original Resident Evil 4 has such a place in my heart.
I read you. What's your situation? What the hell's going on? What was that? No fucking way.
Oh, wow. Okay, they definitely made the Ganados creepier. Okay, yeah, they definitely are taking like a much more horror focal vibe to this compared to how it was much more action oriented back when Resident Evil 4 first came out.
Bruce, this is Condor 1.
Hunnigan here. What's your sit rep?
President's daughter, Baby Eagle. It's likely she's in this village.
Our intel was correct then. Well done.
Something's happened to the people here. My escorts are...
Oh, okay, that's definitely shining-ish. Alright, wow, look at the opening village here. Okay, in this iconic scene. So originally I don't think it actually showed them when they first set the guy on fire. They just like, he's already torched when you got there. Oh, and his roundhouse kick like looks like a lot smoother and cleaner here too. I like that. Okay, and he's got Banner while he's fighting. Okay, I think they even actually succeeded in making Dr. Salvador. Yep, they succeeded in making him like even creepier. Whoa. Okay, this actually might end up being like, you know, a lot better than the original. I mean, it's too early to tell, but who knows? Maybe this is like one of those remakes we didn't know we needed. I mean, I'm still like, you know, waiting for them to do a Code Veronica one, but oh, and he's actually got a hip throw too. I think originally he just did like a back elbow, but now he just like straight up, you know, throws them. Okay, and he's got a neck. All right. It's like he's got a lot more variation to his yeah, Dr. Salvador looks a lot creepier now. And he's got much more of a impactful introduction. Oh, so you actually can block it this time. It's not an instant kill. Okay, I'm sold.
What did you think?
So they actually made where you can block Dr. Salvador's chainsaw now.
We are paying respect to the original game's world, while implementing new ideas and state-of-the-art graphics to strengthen the core concepts of the title. We think this game will provide a fresh experience with a sense of familiarity if you played the original, that both newcomers and veterans to Resident Evil 4 will enjoy.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a lot scarier.
No fucking way. The Ganados will have all new ways to attack. They are closing in on Leon during his mission and will attack with an even greater variety.
I love that throw though, and the kick though.
Leon fights back with firearms, close combat maneuvers.
Oh, you can parry them when they attack like that too. Okay.
And more.
So they actually seem like making him more efficient than his original version, which is amazing.
Elements are critical for survival. Just as in the original, using the attaché case effectively will be key. In addition to managing the weapons and items you carry and synthesizing herbs, this also allows you to craft ammunition and other items.
There he is. He's back. Yes, the merchant.
We can't forget the merchant.
Thank you. I forgot about it. I was like, hopefully he'll be in it. We got the merchant.
Customize them to suit your playstyle. We've also added a trade mechanic where rare gems you've collected can be exchanged for special items.
You can't go wrong with that.
And his voice here ain't that bad.
The original game while respecting its core experience, adding new ideas and modernizing the playfield.
This is gonna be fun. I cannot wait for this to come out.
To share some new information regarding this product's release.
I think you got set back.
That Resident Evil 4 will also be available on PlayStation 4, in addition to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, and PC. The PlayStation 4 version can be upgraded to the PlayStation 5 digital version at no additional cost. I'd like to introduce two other editions we are preparing for players looking for more than the standard edition. The first is the Deluxe Edition, which will be available for all platforms. This includes additional content such as costumes,
they got hero and villain filters,
a treasure map, and more. Next is
Oh,
the
that statue.
physical-only collector's edition. This edition includes the contents of the deluxe edition, as well as a Leon figure, a special map, art book, soundtrack, and more. Also, pre-orders start today.
Okay.
If you pre-order the standard edition, you'll receive the attaché case gold and special charm handgun ammo. If you pre-order the deluxe edition or collector's edition, you'll receive the standard edition pre-order bonuses, as well as attaché case classic and special charm green herb. If you pre-order the digital version on the PlayStation Store, you'll receive a mini soundtrack. You can secure these bonuses by pre-ordering Resident Evil 4. Thank you for watching so far. We are working hard to create a game that everyone will enjoy. So please, look forward to it. Before I go, we have one more update for you. Let's take a look.
Please let me Krauser or Alright, is this for Resident Evil 4 or something else? Okay, it's for Resident Evil 4, I can hear them. This is for Ada? I guess this is for Resident Evil 4. Yeah, the... Okay, so I'm hoping we'll see something either Del Lago or Krauser. I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but I don't know if this is like made for Ada's campaign.
Looking for someone? Maybe some missing señorita?
Alright, it's Lewis.
Ashley, where are you?
Alright, Salazar. No, Sadler.
Soul
Mendez.
cleansing.
Ashley Graham, are you in here?
Just let me go.
Listen. I'm hearing the president's orders and
What is that? What do we do?
The lost lambs are escaping.
we need to go. I'm gonna get you home safe.
You can stop right there.
Alright, there's Ada.
Ada, who are you? And what are you doing here?
My faithful disciple shall
El Gigante. Who looks a lot buffer. Alright, there's the Del Lago. You fight at night this time, or?
Now, abandon your body.
Leave the girl. She's lost no matter what.
Now that he has chosen death.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I'm hoping that when he said you gotta be kidding me, I'm hoping that might have been like a reference to Krauser. I mean, we got the Del Lago to a slight extent. I wouldn't expect them to fully like show it entirely. I was hoping for at least something for Krauser.
The Resident Evil showcase. Let's recap. First, Resident Evil Village Gold Edition launches on Friday, October 28th. If you already own Resident Evil Village, you could purchase the Winter's Expansion DLC separately. The Winter's Expansion includes 3 additional modes. The third-person mode, so you can enjoy the main game in a new perspective. The Powered Up, the Mercenaries Additional Orders, and the new story campaign, Shadows of Rose. Oh, yes, a demo for the third-person mode will be available today. Don't forget, the early access period for Resident Evil RE-Verse begins October 24th for all owners of Village. Resident Evil Village Cloud, playable on Nintendo Switch via a cloud service, will be available starting October 28th. Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, and Resident Evil 7 are also coming to Nintendo Switch via cloud at a later date. Also, the Mac version of Resident Evil Village will be released on October 28th. The newest entry in the series, Resident Evil 4, will release on Friday, March 24th, 2023, and you can pre-order it today.
I'm definitely gonna be
forward to it.
I'm definitely gonna be playing that day one.
Thank you very much for watching.
I think that was obviously like probably like the big thing for the showcase.
Well, looks like you.
This is another surprise.
With such a grand display, I should hope so. Oh, I'm afraid I have an appointment I must attend to. Just a bit of bartering with another merchant. An odd chap, but his information's good. And I shouldn't say any more. Anyway, I do hope I'll see you
I appreciate the alert, Deceptus.
I'll strive to prepare a suitably satisfying stock of goods.
My guess is like that whole thing with like, you know, the other merchant was like kind of like a play on how in Resident Evil Village, he can actually quote the merchant from Resident Evil 4, so pretty much it's kind of implying they know each other. So I'm guessing that what they're pretty much probably going to do, let me switch on over back over to my input and everything. I mean, I would personally feel like it would be cool if, hang on 1 second, if what they actually did was, basically what they kind of did was they went in and, let me see right here. Kind of just put that up. Yeah, I personally feel like what would be pretty cool is if they actually have a, kind of like another, like basically they go and take like another reference in regards to doing another callback. Like kind of like a callback in that, you know, Resident Evil 4's remake, that merchant like quotes the one from Resident Evil Village in some way. So they kind of like, you know, pay like a little bit of a tribute to each other. I think that would be like a neat little Easter egg to go with the one in Village. But overall, I mean, all this was really exciting. Like, for me, the biggest thing is the fact of how they, you know, really have changed up like Leon's combat for the remake. Like in the sense that now he can pretty much parry the enemies when they're coming at him. Like originally you could like, you know, of course counter enemy attacks. Like you could pretty much, you know, evade them. Like when they're about to hit you, you basically could just like use an attack, or like, you know, they give you like a low QTE to press, and then Leon would do like a backflip or roll out of the way. But in this one, it's pretty cool seeing that he actually can do full-on counter attacks. I mean, one of the biggest ones being that you can now, when Dr. Salvador tries to, you know, use a chainsaw, you can just actually parry the entire chainsaw attack. And I think that kind of like goes with, I think, how Resident Evil 4, I think, was supposed to be when it first was being, like before I think it was released. I think there was like footage that was going around where I think Leon actually could stop the chainsaw. So seeing that happen, I'm thinking the way it may go is that it's probably gonna be where like you have to have a knife to use it, because I don't know if they're gonna do like Resident Evil 4, like Resident Evil 2, and I think they had in 3 where you had to have like, you know, knives as like a little secondary item to counter a zombie when it was trying to bite you. And I think you also could do it to Mr. X, but it may be one of those things where like you can have that, like you can have like a knife secondary item. And when you use it against Dr. Salvador, it probably like cuts through the knife and it basically probably burns through that. But it gives you like a get out of jail free card to keep from getting decapitated instantly. Because that was like obviously one of the big things of Resident Evil 4. And that instant kill with Dr. Salvador and seeing Leon get decapitated. It was like probably like one of the most gruesome deaths in the game. So that's obviously, like I said, like one of the key standouts from this for me. The fact that Leon, somehow they made him like more efficient, you know, even than he was before. Like he was, I mean, there's all the jokes about Leon being alpha in like the Resident Evil series, but they kind of made it where like, you know, his attacks were more clean instead of him just having like the back elbow like he had originally. Now he just full on judo throws them over him, and as it was shown when in the showcase during that, you know, the gameplay demo there, they were able to use the throw to knock away enemies in front, like how they did with Dr. Salvador. So that's pretty nice. Because the back elbow, I think like if other enemies were behind Leon, I think it knocked them back too. But seeing like an attack where he pulls the enemy forward in front of him, and it also makes it where it's easier to follow up instead of you having like to turn around, like to shoot them. Now it's in front of you so you can attack them from there. And again, like the kicks were a lot smoother looking. The fact that he was able to parry the pitchfork with his knife and block it. It's like they gave like a whole lot more different applications to how Leon can fight in this that makes it more streamlined. Another thing I really liked is the fact that I feel like Capcom probably maybe listened to their fans in sense that Resident Evil 4, it was like a departure for the series in a way, and that they were going like a more action-oriented route, and it was still terrifying. It was still creepy like the first playthrough. But you see how everything was a lot darker here. Like the opening house, I believe that was like the first house. I don't know. It was like a lot more expansive if that was their reimagining of the opening area where you saw the first Ganado. And then seeing it come down the stairs with its neck snapped and like the little chitness sounds that it made, like insect noises. That was a really nice touch. And like I said, all the dark, you know, shadows and the way they just made everything like a lot more, you know, just sinister in regards to it being like a much more shadowy concept. It kind of seemed like they were kind of like matching Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes, you know, how they did everything for that to make it like a lot scarier. And I feel like that actually might make this better than the original Resident Evil 4. I mean, that's a stretch. but it doesn't seem like they expanded on a lot. Like I said, my main thing is that I'm just kind of, I was hoping to maybe see something from Krauser. Obviously, we didn't see that, but because originally there was all these theories that Lewis was going to be like the the bad guy in this, and who knows, maybe there might be might be a switch, and he actually might end up being the bad guy. But the main, a lot of people consider Krauser to be like the best boss battle in Resident Evil 4, and it was one of the best moments in the game, like with the knife fight QTE between him and Leon, because it was such a tense situation, because you had to be like really on point with the counters, but otherwise it was an instant death. So I'm thinking it may be that Krauser may be in the game. I'm still holding out hope that he is gonna appear. But I think that maybe they're just like saving him closer to the release date, or maybe it's gonna be a full-on surprise. They might even actually announce him for the game before then. Obviously, we saw that Del Lago is definitely gonna be in it. We knew that was gonna be the case because in previous trailers we saw the Leon out in the lake in the boat. So that immediately told you that was what he was gonna be dealing with. So we know that Del Lago is back. It showed Sadler, it showed Salazar, it showed more of Mendez and a little silhouette of his centipede form. I really do feel like this version of Resident Evil 4, it's too early to tell. But, I mean, Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3's remakes, did really well. I think, 3, a lot of the criticism is faces how short it was. But really, any of the Resident Evil games can be short, if you actually, once you speed through them and all that. Because they're basically designed for speed running. And yeah, Resident Evil 3's remake was a bit short. But, compared to, Resident Evil 2. But, at the same time, you weren't playing as two characters. I mean, you played as Carlos for a bit, but you had two separate campaigns for both Leon and Claire in Resident Evil 2's remake, and in 3's remake, you only had, Jill and a little bit of time you play as Carlos, in the hospital scene. So, I think that, because another thing about Resident Evil 4 is that it was also, the first Resident Evil in the series that really kind of, had, a longer, time length, time to complete to it. Because they went, the route of chapters instead of, you just having, a whole seamless area where you traveled around and did puzzles. In Resident Evil 4, it took, it was about maybe a 12-hour game, give or take. And yeah, you could speed through it easier once you actually knew where everything was and all that, but still, it probably would take you a bit of time. If you went in with a fully upgraded arsenal, yeah, it probably will only take you a few hours. But it was really the first game in the series where they did really dramatic, really, kind of extensively, upgrade the playtime of it compared to, probably maybe 3 to 6 hours, to complete the other games if you knew what you were doing, maybe possibly 8 or 9 if you it was your first time playing them. So yeah, as far as that's concerned, I think that was the basically the highlight of this. But of course, the Winter's Expansion stuff, some of it was things that we already knew, and they're kind of we're showing a little bit more of it. It showed some new cutscenes for the Shadow of Rose stuff, and that's obviously the main thing I'm excited about because I haven't really played Mercenaries mode much yet. Their thing there was of course the third person, which would, like they said, will probably make it less scary for those who are maybe new to survival horror, maybe new to Resident Evil. It could be one of their first entries in the series. And obviously some other big news was the fact that all these titles were coming to Switch via the cloud versions, and the stuff for Reverse. I don't know if I'm really interested in that too much or not. Maybe if I have some friends to play it with. It was interesting kind of seeing, I think Resident Evil Leon in his Resident Evil 6 garb. I don't know if, and it said different costumes, so I wonder if it actually may be that we may get a version of Nemesis in his original Resident Evil 3, look compared to the remake one. Because even though the remake Nemesis was still, cool looking, I still kind of prefer how he looked originally, when he first debuted. So there was all that, and then of course, like I said, Resident Evil 4 showed the merchant. It showed more glimpses of more of what Ashley looked like in that one closing shot where she was holding the gun. You could see she was being infected. That was very tense. Because I don't think they ever really did much anything like that with Ashley in the original. I know I'm going back to Resident Evil 4, but like I said, this is the main one I'm excited about now. But I think in the original they had the scene where Leon, it kind of took control of him. He tried to strangle Ashley, he tried to choke her, and no, it was Ada he was trying to choke, I believe, and she had to use a knife to snap him out of it. And they had one part where Sadler took control of Ashley and had her, I think, walk, basically she was possessed, away from Leon. But in this one, they have it where Ashley, holds up the gun and she's actually, being antagonistic. So it seems like they're really taking that whole scene and putting more on that, to instead of her just walking away and just at Sadler's command, it's there might be a situation where Sadler might put Leon in a dire situation, where Ashley's about to shoot him, and obviously he can't hurt Ashley. So I'm really wanting to see like how that's gonna play out. Like I said, there was like a lot to take away from this, like little subtle things I saw that I was really excited about. Obviously, you know, I kind of like got a little hyped up when I saw the Merchant, because I was really hoping he was gonna be in it. And even though it's obviously maybe not the same voice actor, still doing a pretty good job of getting that, you know, that I don't know if it's like a British or Australian accent. I want to say it's an Australian accent. By the way, I'm really excited for Resident Evil 4, the remake of that. Definitely going to probably be streaming that on day one. And like I said, the Winter's Expansion, I got mixed up. I thought like it was the 21st. I don't know what I was thinking. But still, it's basically still about a week before, you know, when we get that. It's going to be on the 28th. I've already got my copy, and I've already got my DLC for it. I've already got that pre-ordered, or, you know, pre-purchased, or already purchased, I mean. So, whatever the case, I was hoping for maybe something like Code Veronica's remake. I was hoping for like Resident Evil 9. Obviously, that was like definitely wishful thinking, because we haven't even got the Winter's Expansion yet, even though it's not like gonna be like slightly over a week, but we're gonna be getting that. And also, we haven't even got like the remake of Resident Evil 4 yet. It's coming out like in March. So I know it was kind of a stretch, like, you know, to hope for a Code Veronica remake announcement or Resident Evil 9 announcement, with these two things haven't even been released yet, and they're still putting a lot of focus on those. But I really feel it's just going to be a matter of time before we do get a Code Veronica announcement. Obviously, eventually where there is going to be a Resident Evil 9, because they've been saying the Winter's family story is over. Or basically this is the conclusion of the Winter storyline. So I think that's kind of like little hints that they are going to be moving on to something else. So don't know what it means like moving forward with Resident Evil. Like they're moving past the Winter's storyline. They could be like going back to something else where it's going to be focused on Chris. Leon, I'm personally hoping it's Jill, because even though she's one of the most iconic characters, really I think like the last game we've actually really got Jill in regards to a game that moved the storyline forward was Resident Evil 5, I think. Yeah, because you know, since Resident Evil 5, we haven't seen her in the story since then. She wasn't in 6. She wasn't in 7. She wasn't in Village. So I really feel like I would like to see them do something else with the game that maybe like does bring Jill back in moving forward. Maybe someone with Rebecca. There's multiple characters that haven't really done anything with. I mean, I even like to see someone with Jake Mueller, because even though like he was very polarized, a lot of people didn't like him. I really did like, you know, Jake, you know, Resident Evil 6. He was one of my favorite aspects of Resident Evil 6, and I would like to see them do something else with him, because the way that game concluded, it basically was showing that he was still doing his thing, and he is one of the younger characters by the timeline in the game currently. He was like only in his early 20s at that point, while Leon was like, I think like in his late 30s or mid 30s. I think he was like, Leon was like 36 or something like that. And Chris at this point is probably like, I think like in his 40s or whatever. So Jake is someone, I'm not trying to say like a pass the torch scenario, like, you know, Dante passing the torch to Nero and Devil May Cry, because that's what they've been heavily implying. But it would be nice for them to do something else with Jake. And I mean, I would really like to see like a full game based around, because again, a lot of people probably didn't like Jake. I personally enjoyed him. He was like one of the better parts about Resident Evil 6 to me. So I would like to see something with him, possibly something with Jill for Resident Evil 9. But obviously we have to like wait and see what happens. So anyways, that being said, Rogues, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. I'll be live in a little while with part 3 for my revisit of BioShock. So I'm going to go and get some dinner. And then afterwards, I'll, you know, be getting set up for the next stream. And then, you know, tomorrow I will be doing a morning stream, because tomorrow night I'm going to be going, it is confirmed that I'm going to be going, like, working again this haunted trail, like, out of town, you know, as a scare actor. So anyways, I'll see you guys. I would say I should be live possibly around maybe like 9 or 9:30. So it's going to be a little bit of time, because I do need to eat and get things set up. But hope you guys enjoyed the showcase. Obviously, then, you know, leave, you know, like your thoughts and everything in the comments and such. And I'll see you guys in the next stream. Much love. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you soon. Thank you for watching the stream. If you like my content and want to see more, be sure to follow me and hit that notification bell. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram, as well as join my Guilded server to hang out and join on occasional movie nights. If you're an aspiring streamer, the website contains a collection of over a dozen completely free text guides to help you out, with sections dedicated to proper networking, the importance of channel panels, handling dead air, and many other topics. Find a link in my website in my bio. See you guys next time.